angels waging war in the unseen realm. Global events fulfilling biblical prophecy. Eternal life. What lies beyond mortality? From analyzing the paranormal from a biblical worldview to the discussion of cutting-edge science and technology, conspiracy, discovery, special investigative reports. Unafraid to explore the challenging issues facing humanity. Welcome to another edition of SkyWatch TV.
Images, film, can really tell a story, can make a powerful impact on people. Frankly, that's why we do television ourselves. Welcome to SkyWatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert. Joining me in studio, along with our special guest, is the host of the forthcoming SkyWatch Women and the science advisor for SkyWatch TV, the co-host of Sci Friday. In that role, my best friend, my wife, Sharon K. Gilbert.
Hi, honey.
And our guest, who is a filmmaker who has made a name for himself on the web as the producer of films that deal with a lot of the topics you see on SkyWatch TV, evolution, the flood of Noah, Nephilim, giants, recently touching on the prophetic implications of the 2016 presidential election. We're pleased to welcome the man behind the God in a Nutshell project online at godinanutshell.com, Trey Smith. Trey, welcome.
It's an honor to be here with you today, Derek.
You cover a wide variety of topics, and your style is very unique. You call them a documentary. I think people have this idea of somebody in a safari jacket out in the savannah of Africa, or talking in low hushed tones, the bark beetle, whatever.
It would be a good look for him, though.
Might get the good hat.
Yeah.
But you deal with topics that in film that most churches shy away from. Evolution, the flood. Were there literally giants back in the day? What is the significance of the Book of Enoch, to Christians today? What led you to using film as a medium to get your message out?
In growing up, I was really bothered by the theory of evolution because I couldn't. It just seemed kind of, uncomfortable, like that. The sort of embarrassing that they were stating, and let me defend why. Because you would never, for example, if they were going to say dinosaur, the dinosaur which evolved 65 million years ago, the dinosaur which evolved, the bird which evolved, the bear which evolved, you would never do this. I walked across the room, held down by gravity. By the way, I got some coffee. Did I mention I was held to the ground by gravity? You would never do this with anything. When I started to make these films, I kind of just wanted to look at what the truth was. And that led to a battery of films that take you in fascinating places and seem to take you to heights because of the fact that it seems so arbitrary to what people looking through the screen largely have heard. Because the lies and the smoke and mirrors has been so thick, like a crystal ball with fog in it, that when some of that clears out of the way, you're looking at a beautiful landscape where you can go on a lot of journeys on a lot of roads once you get the junk out of there.
So you're trying to serve as the big fan that blows the smoke out of the way. Say, hey, look, conventional wisdom here, when you actually apply a little pressure to it, is nothing more than this insubstantial stuff that clouds your vision.
I want to give full credit for anything, Derek, to the Lord, to Yeshua HaMashiach, the King, the coming King, because that's critical to me because look, any success there is on those videos is his, not mine. And the parts that are good are anything you perceive as good is from him. It's not from misspellings, other things. Those are all me. The good parts, those are him. But yeah, that's what each one is looking at things, and the next one will be the Exodus. And by the way, on that Exodus, we're going to show you who the Pharaoh is of the Exodus. We're going to show you who and when you see these things, you're going to have tears in your... I'm not saying that tritely. I'm saying when you see... I can almost get... Well, I know about you, Derek. She's going to have tears in her eyes at the moment.
No, he's more likely to have that than he's such tender-hearted.
We've got a running count now, and we're into double digits. The number of times Derek has broken down on this program in the last year and a half. So,
but you know, your presentation, the way you impart this knowledge to people watching, is entertaining, but it's compelling, not just to Christians. I think one of the coolest things about your DVDs, your documentaries, Trey, is that you reach the unchurched, you reach the unregenerate heart. I got to ask you, have you been a Christian all your life? I mean, was this something that you just always been born doing? How did the Lord lead you into this?
Well, I grew up, well, first of all, I make it for them because I'm terrified of the Christians. The Christians will eat you alive.
That's an indictment, but it's true. I'm afraid it's true.
The atheists look frightening, but I promise you, when you really get down to it, their complaints, many of them are valid. It's just the monkey people that were, okay, so a lot of people view God as he's just up there waiting for you to get close enough to him so he can hit you with a big stick. Our God is a loving God. He is a Father that loves us. And what you'll find with those atheists is their perception of who God is driven them to be who they are. And they're angry at...
They're angry at Christians. They're not angry at God.
Yeah.
Very often.
They're angry at God. It's just that we're in the way.
They're angry at the wind.
That's
they're shaking a stick at the wind, and they don't even know what they're hitting.
Yeah.
And if they hit it, they wouldn't know that they did. And that's why when you hand people, and I think it's not just them, it's the Christians, it's the people it's the ones in the highways and the byways. And that's where it's all of them. Even the pagan guy who's hardcore, and he's still going to do his paganism, has every right to know you. He has every right to know what it is that he's even practicing. Even if he's going to keep doing it, I think the Lord would have that for him, that he at least understand what he's doing and why it led where it did.
So when did the Lord speak to you and say that, Trey, I want you to do this?
No, maybe the whole time. Maybe the entire time. I mean, I guess I always sort of knew that at some point I would be doing the things I'm doing. I probably even knew that as a little kid. But I had a hard road to that. I've been through the gutter, like a lot of the people that watch, so I know what the gutter is like, and I also know, when you're inside of rough worlds, you actually learn a lot of discernment in rough worlds. And you're in hours of history where most everybody watching through this screen has been through a rough world. All of their story is that story. It's all been a rough road because that's where we've let it go to. We don't know what having an enjoyable road is, and by and large, the people anticipate things to go bad, because that's what we've got. In that environment, you learn how to cut to the chase, and I guess that's a lot of what happens in these videos, is that a lot of this stuff that are the lies, the deceptions, have become so large and clouded and so ridiculous, in a sense, most of it, that you can cut through it like it was wind.
Yeah, but you know what they say. I mean, the bigger the lie, the easier it is to get people to believe it.
They've certainly proven that, haven't they?
Amen.
I mean, if nothing else, we did a big experiment to prove we could tell big lies and people would believe it. What way to go, guys. Congratulations. Job well done. We were wondering the answer to that.
So as you came out of this hard road, I mean, again, was there a certain point where you said, what I'm seeing in churchianity today, American Christianity, what I'm seeing in churchianity today is not addressing the problem? Was there a certain moment where you recognized this? Or?
I didn't really think of it like that, because I just began doing things that I felt like the Lord was leading me to do, and they had whatever effect He desired them to have. But what I grew up in a non-denominational church, Spirit-filled, and so that was what my background was. And my father was a Had two PhDs in fact. I mean, who does that? Who go get? I mean, most people, they don't get one. And it's a guy. I got one. I got to go get another one. And would do all sorts of little mathematical stuff. You know, and I don't even know what it was. Electrical things and things. He made his own remote control one time. You know, he could change the channel from the other room, and he's not even sitting in front of the TV. I don't even know how it looked weird, but the stuff worked.
My dad could do that, but it was by sending me into the other room to change the channel.
Wouldn't and you know, there's almost something more clever about that, isn't there?
Yes.
And both of them love the Lord, and so you got kind of the intellectual and the spiritual, I suppose. But I, you know, went off like a lot of people, like most people do. You know, that's what most everyone watching has been through the drudge of some kind. And I just at some point was tired of it, and I felt like I wanted to do some things. I wanted to do some things for the Lord, and I think that that's the way the Lord does it in a lot of cases. That if you ask Him, you don't get what you don't ask for. And so I just asked Him, Lord, I'd like to do something else. Can you just pull me out of this, and we'll go do something? And I guess He said yes, because we're sitting here talking, Derek.
Yeah.
You know, the video that you watched, the Nebuchadnezzar one, the one about Donald Trump, how did you get the inspiration to come up with that in the first place? What in your mind said, hey, Donald Trump, Nebuchadnezzar?
I never really set in to make a Trump video. It wasn't the thought behind it. And by the way, the video that's coming out, so right now while we're talking, we're before the second debate. Okay, the second debate hasn't happened yet. The first debate has, between Hillary and Trump. But this video started being made well before he was even the front runner, before you had the back and forth. Well, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in that took time. It wasn't thrown together in a weekend.
You don't do that overnight, huh?
No, it took a couple of days to do it. It was, but what you would see on the articles is that nobody really had anything positive to say about the other people, whether it was the opponents, the Republican opponents of Trump. And now at the point we're talking now about Hillary, they all have bad things to say. Their minds are all focused on Trump.
Right.
So even the enemies are fascinated by him. And I believe the Lord guided this video. Now that doesn't necessarily mean Donald Trump is going to win. What it means to, I mean, I believe that he is. I believe the Lord's going to do that. But this is what I'm telling you, that I make clear in the video, that the Lord can show us things that He would like to do for us, and He can do something else. Yeah. Because we can choose. We can choose to say, you know what, Lord, I don't want what you got. I don't want the good thing. I don't know why we do that, but we do it a lot. Yeah. We really do. And all of us, that's not just the pagans. The pagans are more diligent with their pagan gods than the Christians are with the Lord of the universe. Yeah, yeah. And if we get Trump, being diligent before Lord is important, not just when we're in trouble, but when we get, the ground gets more dangerous generally when there is prosper, because that's where we do that. That's where, as people, we tend to do the things that would anger the Lord most. So it can be a blessing and a curse simultaneously. But there is no argument that burdens would be lifted if this man wins.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that, the video, and we'll put a link to it in the notes, the show notes that accompany this program. You'll find it at the SkyWatchTV channel on YouTube, also at SkyWatchTV.com. But in that video, of course, we made reference to Nebuchadnezzar because of the link perhaps between Donald Trump and the King Cyrus. But I want to ask you a question about another video, and when Babylon is not Babylon. We'll talk about that right after this message, because Tom Horn talked to the folks at Wise Foods, and even though October is no longer National Preparedness Month, we've extended the offer on the preparedness package. We'll be back with more SkyWatch TV right after this. Most American families are just 72 hours away from disaster. Here at SkyWatch TV, we hope we can help avoid that.
I have been given permission to tell about this massive deal. There's one packet where you get one of each of these, breakfast and entree buckets, and again, 25 years shelf life. With that, you will get 15 of these Wise Fire packets. You'll get one of this water bottle. It will filter 99.9% of the impurities out of your water. Also, you will get for free this awesome auto kit.
Now, there's another package.
There are 2 more packages. The second package, you get 3 of each bucket. You pay for those, and you get the auto kit free, you get the Wise Fire free, and you get 2 of these bottles. There's a third deal. You won't believe this one. You get 6 of each of these. You get the auto kit free, you get the Wise Fire free, you get 2 bottles. Guess what else? You get the Mac Daddy
Ooh.
50-gallon water storage container. If the electric grid goes down, one of these is going to come very handy.
3 packages for preparedness. One that feeds a family of 6 for a month. One that feeds a family of 6 for 3 months. And one that feeds a family of 6 for half a year, and of course that includes the 50-gallon water tank. And with each package, we'll include free the Everyday Gourmet Cooking with Long-Term Food Storage, a $50 value. You'll find all of those deals online, the Wise Food Preparedness Specials at SkyWatchTVstore.com. Welcome back to SkyWatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert, along with Sharon Gilbert. Our guest, Trey Smith, his website, godinanutshell.com. In your video, and I forget now if it was Entities or the Book of Enoch, you made a connection that is not original to me, but it makes an awful lot of sense, which is that what we think of as Babylon, and we keep pointing to Babylon as being the ancient city of Babylon, but there's actually another city in ancient Sumer that is older and is the site of a temple that probably was the Tower of Babel. It is the city of Eridu. Mm-hmm. And I was really interested to note that you picked up on that as well. So for people not familiar with Eridu and why it's important and why it even is relevant to us, like 7,500 years after that city was founded, you know, what is Eridu and why is it spiritually significant?
When you look at Eridu, it appears to be, and this is anybody, not just an archaeologist person. On the other side of the screen, you become the archaeologist. You become the one that's the expert in looking at things, because I'll be frank with you, you can't trust many of your mainstream people. Eridu appears to, it's very likely the Tower of Babel, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, Derek, you take a look at it. First of all, that's what they're recording in Eridu about it. It
was the very first city founded. It was the site of the largest and oldest ziggurat or step pyramid in Mesopotamia, and it was the site of the god Enki, which means, is a word, compound word, that means Lord of the earth, which sounds an awful lot like what Jesus called Satan.
And it was supposed to be over the Absu.
Yeah, the Absu, which is the word from which we get the word abyss. So you got the god of the abyss, the largest and there's a record of an ancient Sumerian king who wanted to rebuild this particular temple, during which languages of all the people working on it got confused.
Gasp.
Yeah.
It's,
And yet today we still say, well, no, Babel was at Babylon. Babylon wasn't even a city when this temple was built.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, you've got to work at Berkeley not to put 2 and 2 together on it.
Yeah.
So pretty much everything that they told you wasn't true is true, and the stuff that they told you was true and should be important is so far from being important and is probably just there to steal from you. That's the long and the short of reality, which in some sense I'm thankful for the evil people, because they make life fun. Without them there'd be nothing to do. In some sense, that's not true either, but it's far too much credit for them in that. But
they're sitting crying now. The spiritual realm is in tears. Oh.
Well, they're going to do what a trapped animal does. Okay, they're going to do what a trapped animal does, because you are coming to the end of the story, and darkness has no choice but to lash out. That's what a trapped animal does. Its days are numbered,
because his time is short.
That's right.
And so we're living in the hours, and that's sort of what the backdrop of all these videos are. And so we're putting forth some curious postures in the Trump video that came out, but the one that is probably more substantial and long-lasting, and this is whether Trump or Hillary were your next president, is understanding what the spiritual is And that's sort of, and actually looking at it, not just talking about it. We're going to look at these entities, the stuff that moves the cups and moves the things on the shelves and talks through the crystal balls. And, you know, what's behind this? We're going to look at it and understand what it's up to and what it's doing.
They don't want us to understand that. I mean, one of my background is in healthcare and biology in genetics, and the issue of informed consent. We live in a world where we have free will, supposedly. But in order to have a free will choice, you have to have an informed choice. That's why we're being lied to all the time.
That's a really
so
good
we
point.
have no true informed choice. The big lie will keep us from having a really good free will choice. So those of you who are watching, watch his videos, because he's telling you the truth. This man, he is finding a way to reach young people who have never wanted to believe in Jesus Christ at all. You have a way of making the truth suddenly come to life.
You know, it almost does that on its own if it's just presented, because it, you know, light is just light. If you get the clouds out of the way, it comes through, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, and that's what it is. It's a lot of clouds and rainy and murky and all of that, and that's okay for a minute. But you know, once the clouds move, it really is nice for the sun to come out again, and for the day to become beautiful. And we've had the clouds for a long time, and I'm just stating. I mean, do you really want these people? I mean, they don't even like themselves. So the Lord God is good, and we're living in a story that began with Adam, and we're almost the last pages of it. The final grains are falling through the hourglass. And so we're trying to make documentaries and films covering that before the end comes. And so that's what we're doing at God in a Nutshell, Derek.
And just circling back around to the reference to Babylon, why is that significant today? The spiritual significance of Babylon. Spiritual Babylon is an image that prophetically represents where we are going as a culture before we get to the end. That is the final mystery religion that will unite the world under the reign of this prophesied one world leader. It is a symbol that is at least 4,000 years old, and yet is still relevant today because we know that it has not yet been fulfilled. What is the significance of that, and how do you try to explain it through?
Well, a part of it is that's where, you know, largely all of your cult practices today are birthed from, is Babylon, that in Egypt. And and there's, you know, a lot more there, but the Tower of Babel that we were talking about a second ago, that you're, you know, Derek, you're an expert on. This is where a cult is birthed. And a cult really starts with, here's the thing, here's what the occult really starts with, no matter what version it looks like, this one. The occult is when men begin to state that they are their own gods, that they're going to do their own way, and that what God wants is irrelevant. And most of the things, see, what the atheists believed, you know, like when I first started doing these documentaries, what these people believed is that there was a list of rules in the Bible. They're rules. Yeah, but these rules are more like, I've got a stove on and it's red hot. I suggest you don't put your face on that.
Right.
And then you've got somebody arguing, why can't I? Okay, well, these are, you got an instruction manual, and this is why in the Bible, when you're following the practices of the Bible, that you're going to find out that they match up with scientific applications, because the maker of the place is giving you instruction. No, don't put your face on. The maker of the place is giving instructions that go with the place. And that's why they're conducive to prosper. That's why they're conducive to, in every way. Spiritually, physically, in every possible way. That's what God made. He made the Garden of Eden. We got ourselves kicked out of it.
And our destiny is to be restored to that someday.
Amen.
The holy mountain, return to God's holy mountain. Babel was just an artificial attempt to force our way back up there, and that's why God had to put a stop to it.
And that's the good news.
That is the good news. Trey Smith is the filmmaker. His website is godinanutshell.com. Many videos online available for you to view, and it's his unique style that makes the message even more compelling. I mean, different styles attract different viewers, different audiences, people of different tastes. It's very unique, and as Sharon said, I think very well, will appeal to those who aren't already in the choir, and those are the people who need to be reached the most. We thank you for watching as we keep watch. For Sharon Gilbert, I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV. You have the power to reach a child who's been broken, scarred, a victim of abuse, a broken home, possibly drugs or violence, a child who's retreated into a shell, scarred by adults who've stolen their innocence. But where adults have failed, God can use the creatures that He's placed here among us to break through, to restore trust and begin the healing. And your gift can provide the key to that healing through the horses of Whispering Ponies Ranch. Your gift of $1,000 for the therapy horses at Whispering Ponies Ranch can provide food and care for a pony and help with the operating and construction costs of a retreat for these children, a retreat offered at no cost to them. Log on to SkyWatchTV.com and click the link in the top menu bar that says Sponsor a Pony to see the horses that are waiting for you. When you sponsor one of the horses at Whispering Ponies Ranch, you'll receive a horse-signed, frameable picture of your sponsored horse, a personalized, autographed copy of Nita Horn's memoir, No Fences. You'll also become a member of the Founders Club. Your $1,000 a year support automatically registers you for our annual conference. You'll receive an invitation to the Founders Banquet during the conference at no cost to you, where you'll see and hear exactly how your donations are being used in ministry throughout the year. And starting in 2017, you'll be invited to a Founders Retreat at Whispering Ponies Ranch with a private meet and greet with the staffs of SkyWatch TV and Whispering Ponies Ranch, a devotional from Tom and Nita Horn, and you'll sit in on a recording of an episode of SkyWatch TV. To sponsor a pony, log on to SkyWatchTV.com and click the link that says Sponsor a Pony, or call toll-free 844-750-4985. And thank you from Whispering Ponies Ranch and SkyWatch TV.
You know, it just seemed kind of, uncomfortable, like that, the sort of embarrassing that they were stating. And let me defend why. Because you would never, for example, if they were going to say dinosaur, the dinosaur which evolved 65 million years ago, the dinosaur which evolved, the bird which evolved, the bear which evolved, you would never do this. I walked across the room, held down by gravity. By the way, I got some coffee. Did I mention I was held to the ground by gravity? You would never do this with anything. When I started to make these films, I kind of just wanted to look at what the truth was. And that led to a battery of films that take you in fascinating places and seem to take you to heights because of the fact that it seems so arbitrary to what people looking through the screen largely have heard. Because the lies and the smoke and mirrors has been so thick, you know, like a crystal ball with fog in it, that when some of that clears out of the way, you're looking at a beautiful landscape where you can go on a lot of journeys on a lot of roads once you get the junk out of there.
So you're trying to serve as the big fan that blows the smoke out of the way. Say, hey, look, conventional wisdom here, when you actually apply a little pressure to it, is nothing more than this insubstantial stuff that clouds your vision.
I want to give full credit for anything, Derek.
Images, film, can really tell a story, can make a powerful impact on people. Frankly, that's why we do television ourselves. Welcome to SkyWatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert. Joining me in studio, along with our special guest, is the host of the forthcoming SkyWatch Women and the science advisor for SkyWatch TV, the co-host of Sci Friday. In that role, my best friend, my wife, Sharon K. Gilbert.
Hi, honey.
And our guest, who is a filmmaker who has made a name for himself on the web as the producer of films that deal with a lot of the topics you see on SkyWatch TV, evolution, the flood of Noah, Nephilim, giants, recently touching on the prophetic implications of the 2016 presidential election. We're pleased to welcome the man behind the God in a Nutshell project online at godinanutshell.com, Trey Smith. Trey, welcome.
It's an honor to be here with you today, Derek.
You cover a wide variety of topics, and your style is very unique. You call them a documentary. I think people have this idea of somebody in a safari jacket out in the savannah of Africa, or talking in low hushed tones, the bark beetle, whatever.
It would be a good look for him, though.
Might get the good hat.
Yeah.
But you deal with topics that in film that most churches shy away from. Evolution, the flood. Were there literally giants back in the day? What is the significance of the Book of Enoch, to Christians today? What led you to using film as a medium to get your message out?
In growing up, I was really bothered by the theory of evolution because I couldn't.
Angels waging war in the unseen realm. Global events fulfilling biblical prophecy. Eternal life. What lies beyond mortality? From analyzing the paranormal from a biblical worldview to the discussion of cutting-edge science and technology. Conspiracy. Discovery. Special investigative reports. Unafraid to explore the challenging issues facing humanity. Welcome to another edition of SkyWatch TV.